Govinda dancing, and that used to be like, "Mujhe Govinda banna hai." That was my dream.
You're the one who pursued directors, na?
I pursue them. I don't pay them to take me in their movies. Like, in case anybody was trying to sell that narrative, none of that happens.
A lot depends on the director. It's the director who sort of molds you into the characters that you play. For instance, if it's Sanjay Leela Bhansali, right? Would you not be able to do Gangubai in the way you did if it wasn't for Bhansali?
100%.
Okay.
I took his character, I took so much of his personality and I put that into Gangubai's character. The way he speaks and the way he thinks and he has a certain attitude and a certain tashan with which he looks at you and he delivers a certain moment because it's in his head. So I would pick that up from him. Chalna bhai, chalna, aage badhte hai na. So I would take those little things and put that into the character. I would have definitely not been able to do it if it wasn't for him. It's totally different. Like a director, it's a director's medium, it's the written word and then the actor. The actor has to collect all those things and then put that.
It's a rather well-known fact that you actually seeked out Bhansali, for instance, right?
Absolutely.
You auditioned for Black.
Yeah.
He was going to do a film with you called Balika Vadu?
Yeah.
How old were you then?
Well, when he decided to make it, I think I was about 9.
Wow.
And then he said, maybe I'll wait a couple of years and make it when you're like a little older. But then I think he dropped the idea altogether, which till today he says I shouldn't have dropped the idea because it went on to become such a popular show.
Eventually, yes. Yeah.
So I shouldn't have listened to everybody. I should have made it and all of that. But yeah, I really seeked him out. Because I remember even then, like, it was such a big deal for me. Like, I was so young, I was a baby, but I was like, oh, I want to work with this filmmaker. And then, of course, when the idea of filmmaking became more clear to me, then it was even more of a sort of like a chase. And then you're also told, these tales that...
Oh, what? At 9, you're like calling him up? Like, listen, do you have a role for me?
I didn't even know. My mother just took me for the audition of Black and she didn't tell me. So my mom was very, very particular. Like, I used to get a lot of offers as a child actor.
Okay.
Which she didn't
After you did Sangharsh?
After I did Sangharsh,
right.
As a thing, I got a lot of these offers. My mom said no, like we did it as a one-off thing, but she didn't want me to be a child actor. She said, you live, you study, you have a life, and we will get into acting later. I was always very clear I wanted to be an actor. I was like, we'll see. This was one I think she wanted me only to do because of the audition. Because she said, like, let's start auditioning, and of course it's Sanjay Leela Bhansali. So if you work with him, whatever it is, you have that experience.
Yeah, you won't just be a child actor.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Like, you will be represented in a totally different way. So I didn't even know I was going for this audition of Black. She just took me for, she said, we are going for an audition. And I went, and then when we were literally entering the gate, I remember it's the building that he's still staying in, Magnum Opus. How ironical that his building is also called Magnum Opus. So we entered the building and she was speaking to the watchman and she said, Sanjay Leela Bhansali ke ghar pe jana. And I was like, like my jaw literally dropped because I didn't know, and she purposely didn't tell me because she knew I would get very nervous.
Oh, you were a fangirl on basis of what? What did you see?
On his movies, how?
Oh, which ones? Like, was there some movie that you were constantly watching? Like
I think
Hum Dil Dil Chuka Sanam? Okay, right.
Khamoshi I must have seen much later on. It's a very, nuanced film. But I was in love with Hum Dil. I mean, I don't know at that time which films I had seen, but I had seen enough to...
Right. You knew him.
Be a fan.
Right, which is unusual for a child. To know that directors' names and for the jaws to drop.
Yeah. So I jaw dropped, went in, met him, instant connect, instant connect. Like just I don't know how, whatever it was instant. And so he said no. He auditioned me for Black. I don't know what audition I did, but he said no. This girl's going to be a heroine. We have to make different film with her. So then he came up with this Balika Vadu concept. We did costume rehearsals.
Oh well, he was.
Or maybe it was already there. I don't know, but isko lete hai, wo wala idea aa gaya. So we did costume rehearsals. We did I would dance on Dola Re Dola and all of that. Like all of this has happened. And imagine Ranbir was in the office throughout this. We've done a photo shoot where my head was on his shoulder. Everything has happened. Ghoom fir ke, I don't know what happened. I went back to school. Sir decided not to make the film. But then that wo mere dil mein, like that keeda got stuck. That one day I have to work with him. So when I joined the movies, the understanding was Sanjay Leela Bhansali works with the actors at their prime. When they're at their prime, he works with them. Like that was that.
That's the aura, na?
That aura. Yeah. So I was like, oh, I'll reach my prime one day, and one day I will get to work with him. So when it happened, it was like a dream come true. And actually it started like break a leg na situation, because we started to do a film called Inshallah, which never happened.
With Salman,
right. Which never happened, which got shelved. Which I was like, what the hell? Like, my dream is just was just coming true, and it's now cancelled. And then he came to me with Gangubai, and then that's what I talk about when you speak about the factors of like luck and destiny. Like, had it not been for the film getting shelved, maybe Gangubai would have never come my way. So how everything works for.
Also, did you walk out like when you first heard the script? When he first told you what he's trying to make, and you just got up and you left, and you was just left wondering what happened?
None of that happened.
He just made that up?
No, he didn't make it up. Sir exaggerates a little bit. So he said she ran out of the office. He was not wrong.
Okay.
I did get a little thrown off with the subject because we were supposed to do another film. So I was like, so it's a very different subject. It's totally different to what I had imagined. But I think it's only because I was coming off a totally different film, which was like a romantic film, and then suddenly this came to me. So I just needed to digest it for a second, and more than anything, it was like, it was a no-brainer.
You want to sleep on it? Like, you want to think about it?
Yeah, but I went back home, I reached home and I messaged him, being like, I'm going to come and see you tomorrow.
Yeah. But like typical Bhansali style, you stormed off his office.
No, he said it more in a comical tone. She ran away. She took her bag and she ran. But then she came running back.
You're the one who pursued directors, na?
I pursue them. But pursue them not like I don't pay them.
Good morning.
I don't pay them to take me in their movies. Like, in case anybody was trying to sell that narrative, none of that happens. I very earnestly go and give them a vibe that I feel like they may enjoy. And dedication, hard work, I think sells on the top of the pyramid, and then comes rest everything else. Talent actually secondary. The hard work and dedication is number one.
I mean, obviously you would have connected with Student of the Year, because if you were a number one fan, then, Govinda movies and dancing and all those things, I mean, it's in that space, right?
Yeah, but I was not this cheerleader in school or something. Like, the girl that Shania is, I didn't know how to walk also in those heels. I was walking in those heels, and like, it's not me. I didn't dress up. If you saw me the clothes that I wore for my first audition, you would have been like, that's really not the character. So Karan actually really had the foresight to be like, she'll be able to be this heroine and all. See, the thing is, I wanted to always be heroine, but that's not who I am naturally. If you see me who I am, I would rather sit in my pajamas than get into this big, like, glamorous outfit. I'm not that person. But you don't choose your first film. Your first film chooses you, and I am so grateful that that's my first film that chose me. To be launched by Karan Johar in a massive production with 2 other new actors, and it was like a dream.
Were other people auditioning for the part?
Of course.
Like,
I was
do you
a part of.
If there is any,
I don't know any other people, but I remember auditioning, and what I've been told, 400 girls auditioned for that part. I went and auditioned in my school uniform.
Wow.
Danced to Bahara, something like that.
Which class were you in?
I was in the 11th grade.
Okay. So there is a video like that of you in a school uniform and dancing to...
Now I changed my clothes then into something. But yeah, there is a video of me auditioning. I was wearing some black thing, I remember, and some pink cape, thinking that I'm looking very stylish. And right after that, my mother took me for lunch and everything. It was quite a big deal. And I remember being very scared, because I'm like, how do I cut away the people who are looking at me and all of that? And somebody told me that just imagine that nobody is there, or maybe I'm imagining that somebody told me this. But I just was able to cut everybody out, and see, the thing is, what I did in front of that audition, I used to do a lot as a kid, dancing in front of the mirror. To different songs, and singing to myself and talking to myself and doing scenes. I used to do a lot of that to myself, like with myself. So I just did that in front of the camera.
Were you like a massive movie fan growing up, in the sense of somebody will watch the same film again and again? Is that something that happened, or? I'm
a total ranty kind of first row movie watcher.
No,
like
really?
That is me.
Chandan Cinema.
Really? I have grown up watching all the number ones. Kuli number 1, ye number 1, that number 1. I used to see Govinda dancing, and that used to be like, mujhe Govinda banna hai. That was my dream, Govinda Karisma Kapoor. I grew up watching that. So actually, this learned sort of actor that people think I am totally not. I have not watched most of the famous classic Hollywood movies or classic Hindi movies. I recently watched Sholay. I recently watched Mughal-e-Azam. So I'm not academic.
Subscribe to Midday India. Get direct notifications on all our videos by clicking on the bell icon.